Hello, only me. So, gods and extraterrestrials. So, there is a very clear connection between what is believed to be gods and what could be extraterrestrials. So, when we look at ancient artifacts, whether it be buildings, books, texts, or pictures, we can see the connections between them. So, this is a small city of Truva in Turkey. It has been one of the greatest archaeology finds in history. In 1868, amateur archaeologist Heinrich Schmeiner set out to find the evidence of a Trojan War, which is thought to be a fictional 8th century story of feuding and jealous gods. Now, he discovered Troy, which is where it was based. So it leaves the question of: if this story is true, what about all the other stories? Hellas, or what we call it today is Greece, is a country where thousands of people, tourists, every day visit temples and monuments that are built to honour the gods of another age. Many mythologies around the world share similar stories, gods coming from the sky. So, if the gods of Greece were made up, how do the scholars explain the other so called stories, fictional stories worldwide? So, 3800 BC, the Sumerians give visual descriptions of beings that they called their gods Onoki, which meant those from heaven come to earth. They describe the people coming from the sky down to earth, and this is written in stone. Rick von Daniken, author of Odyssey of the Gods, argues that the world's sacred books are talking of supernatural beings, not gods. Thousands of years ago, when primitive mankind was around, they looked to the extraterrestrials as gods. Mount Olympus, Greece's highest mountain, according to myths, it was the home of the gods, where the throne of Zeus sat, determining the fate of mortals. It was described as a magnificent palace with golden temples, shining lights, glistering lights like jewels would shimmer. It was even said that there would be rumbling sounds and the top actually lifted off. In the Iliad and the Odyssey, Zeus is often depicted holding a lightning bolt, a powerful weapon with the power to destroy cities. Poseidon, god of the sea, armed with a trident, creating tsunamis and tidal waves, described as more than just a pitchfork. Apollo, riding the sky in his chariot of fire, he was known to be the teacher for the young Greeks. He taught them to build roads, buildings, even taught them astronomy. When Rome dominated Europe and the Mediterranean between the 1st century BC and the 7th century AD, the Romans worshipped the same gods. Zeus was Jupiter, Poseidon was Neptune, but Apollo was the same. Now, northwest coast of France, south of Britain, prehistoric site in Europe, seaside village of Karnak, 3,000 stones placed in over 2 miles rows, hewn from local rocks. Erected between Stone Age 4500 and 200 BC, the longest standing stones in the world, archaeologists to this day are baffled by them. They weigh up to 350 tonnes. Thousands have been arranged in interesting patterns, intersecting lines. They form triangles, which are only visible from the sky, so there may have been a communication for them. So a poet spoke of this mystical land called Hyperborea. Now, apparently here, the sun shone 24 hours a day. Now, legends say that Apollo visited every 20 years. He explained to the people he has to go there to teach other people. Now, when they asked where is this place that you go to, he would describe it to a place beyond where the north wind comes, the land of the Hyperboreans. Mainstream archaeologists believe that they are tomb markers. Ancient astronaut theorists believe that they are laid out in a geometric formation. Now, they photoed these from a helicopter, again up in the air. The pictures of them show the distance between the lines are always the same length. Lengthways 2,860 metres and widthways 1,430 metres. The angles are the same and they're actually in prothogram triangles. Now, Stone Age people had no idea of Pythagoras triangles. It was 2,000 years before its time. So the stones are on the few things of the planet that can be seen from space, which could mean that they're a marker for those visiting. Were they ordered to be built by Apollo? So he was a teacher of all things? Was it so he was able to find his way back to Hyperborea as he visited every 20 years? What was the reason? Now, thousands of miles to the north of Karnak is Scandinavia, home to the ancient race called the Norse, tribal Germanic people who live in what is now known as Sweden, Denmark, Iceland and Norway. Now, they speak of triumphs of great warriors with advanced weaponry and sophisticated combat techniques and navigational things. Now, they talk of powerful gods like with supernatural powers. Now, were they the same gods? Like the Romans, they knew the gods, but they knew them of different names. They are so similar in so many ways, it's uncanny. Now, the Viking, god Odin, god of war, death and knowledge, Greek god Zeus. They were very, very similar. To look at, they held the same things. They were both sky gods. They both travelled in the sky in chariots. It's also believed in many places that the life itself came from the sun. They were both important and known throughout Europe. The weapons were similar between Norse and Greek gods. Indian Mahabharata describes gods visiting with advanced technology of space travel. Gigantic cities surrounded their planet. There were so-called cities, but small spacecraft kind of things came out of these so-called cities. And the text of the Hebrew Bible describe a prophet travelling the skies in a sophisticated machine. Now, the next part is, it has been said that gods would have sexual relationships with human women. Now, according to Hamazilia, the citizens of Sparta, they're known for their bravery and heroic warriors and beautiful women. Now, Zeus admired a woman named Leda, and one afternoon when she was walking along in an orchard alone, Zeus changed into a swan, hugged her with his wings, and basically, you know what? Apparently she got pregnant, and she then learned that it was Zeus, the god. This is a very, very strange story. So those that were born from a human and a god, or extraterrestrials, they were described as demigods, and they were thought to be of as exceptional. So it's believed that many of those have genetics from the gods, and because there are more than 20,000 genes in humans anyway, and scientists still do not know the full ins and outs of all the genes, it's possible that some people actually still hold the genes of the demigods, which would describe some things today if you think about it. Now, ancient Hindu texts talk of extraterrestrial gods and human beings having sexual relationships, what they called breeding. For instance, a queen named Kunti mated with what was believed to be the sun god, which created Karna, a hero of an Indian epic, the Mahabharata. Hercules to the Greek people, or Hercules to the Roman people, was a demigod, half man and half god, who was conceived by human women, Alcmene and Zeus. So there you go. There's so many similarities, and it really does lead to the question of what's going on. Extraterrestrials, gods, they are so similar in so many ways. Please watch my other videos for this, because it's sort of non-stop. There are just so many different places to explore in the world, countries to explore, different theories. They really, really are interesting. Thank you so much. Bye.